so we read Fahrenheit 451, Spencer, Brooke, Lindsey, and Avery. So, what were your guys' first thoughts on the book?
It was a fast read, but it did get difficult at points because the author did enjoy using a lot of metaphors and similes, so you had to really think about what he was describing and why he was describing it that way.
Exactly, lots of detail. What do you think, Avery?
I thought it was really interesting how the author made a future out of his own mind. And I thought it was really interesting how he portrayed that with the salamander and naming all these things that we don't really know what they are, but then creating an image in our head through like strong imagery and things like that. So I thought that was interesting.
I thought it was kind of terrifying, actually.
I have to agree with that.
I think, I really enjoyed it personally. There's a lot of action, and I kind of enjoyed that in books. I could follow it really well, but it's also like kind of crazy that you said it's futuristic. But it was written in 1953, and they're like talking about things that are even futuristic to us, and we're pretty advanced in technology with the phones and stuff. But that was really interesting. We should all just state which criticism we're going to do?
Yeah, so I'm doing the formalist and new criticism viewpoint.
I'm doing the existential.
Socialist, Marxist.
Gender.
Awesome. All right. Who wants to kick it off with a question?
Well, I know this might seem like out of order, but why don't we jump right to the ending and discuss the ending? Because that is what confused me the most, and that's what I've been dying to touch up on.
Completely.
Just like with everything that happened, like the city gets bombed. Like, first of all, what does like everyone think of the war? Like, what is this war? Like, what is he trying to symbolize with the war? Like,
that's a tough one.
Potentially, because I feel like the war isn't just meant to be there as something. I feel like it's supposed to symbolize something.
It certainly, everything in this book symbolizes something.
Yeah, everything just feels like it has a symbolic value in a way.
I think it just kind of, it partially goes into like just how much tension and like people are almost disconnected from society.
Right.
So I think the war is like a sharp contrast of like the rich and the poor. Like the rich have no idea what's going on. You hear that multiple times. They just like see war on TV, but they're not the ones, and the people in the city aren't the ones fighting.
They're kind of disconnected.
Exactly. Like they're just in
there. They were talking about in that book. What page was that? Montauk was talking about how we don't realize that there's a war going on really maybe because we're just so complacent with ourselves, and we're just, like he was saying, how the people around him are like well fed, but we don't even realize that people are starving.
Yes, it's like 2/3 through the book.
Right.
We know exactly what you're talking about.
So I thought that was really interesting because I think that was also a turning point for him too, because he started to realize within himself, like, wow, maybe I haven't been living obliviously through my whole life after Clarice kind of opened his eyes a little bit.
She's a big part. We'll discuss her at some point.
Like I feel like it's so like interesting how the author can incorporate a character that's not there that often, and she's not there for that long, but she plays such a big impact. It's kind of like he's not very bad at like incorporating like real life. Like you might meet someone for 5 minutes and they change your life entirely.
That's exactly what Clarice did to Montauk.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's so cool because like that happens in real life too, and just not a lot of books touch up on things like that.
Exactly.
So that was like.
Lindsey, did you have any thoughts on the end of the book?
Well, I'd like to go back to the war thing real quick.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
totally.
do that.
So I was reading the interview in the back of the book. There's one with the author. And he mentioned that his intention was to say that this was the second nuclear war since 1990. I don't know if
that was interesting.
Wow.
That was strange. But they even referenced that, I think.
Wait,
the
so
police,
1990, so this was written in
1953.
1953?
That's kind of spooky.
So it's like he's not even like, it's not the first war, it's the second. Like,
and he even like predicts he predicts like 1990 is an important year because it's like the end of the Soviet Union, and that's kind of the end of the nuclear crisis. Like, you can't tell if he's really like, just making that out of his head or what. That's really interesting.
that was kind of.
But this is also set in like the 25th, 24th century. So, like,
I actually read into that a little bit too because it didn't say directly in the book where it was based. But I guess Bradbury said in a different book that he was intending for it to take place in 2026.
Really?
Interesting.
Wow.
I guess he
Way,
said
way
that.
future, right?
I touched up a little on Spark Notes, and I thought it said like the 24th century. It's really futuristic, though, you can tell.
I did hear that too, though.
We know that it's a very futuristic time, though.
Yeah.
Even
Definitely.
way past 2017, or way past 2017.
For me, when I think about it, it's just so weird because people can have such different views on the future. For instance, when I usually think of futuristic, I think of like no gas and everything's like airborne, it's so clean and all that. But then some people take it as Bradbury did, where it's kind of like this rustic, almost run down because people are so encased in themselves that they don't really know what's going on around them, and then they just let the world fall to pieces, which is so weird because for me, honestly, I didn't know, maybe I didn't read the title right or the first page or something, but I didn't know that this was supposed to be a futuristic book until one of you told me.
Really?
And then I looked it up and I was like, that's why all
I think
this
it was
stuff
me.
is weird. Like, the salamander and the hound, all that was not making sense to me at the beginning. I was like, I don't know what's going on in this book. And so, yeah.
It's strange.
So by having books be illegal, what do you potentially think could be the point the author's trying to get across?
I think, looking from a social standpoint, it's all about conformity. They want, he references in the book, they want everybody in society to be the same, and reading books gives you an intellectual advantage.
It gives you a chance to kind of think and go beyond of what's
That's right.
actually happening.
That's why they want everyone to watch. It seems like it's promoted that everyone watches TV, because everyone gets the same thing, and without books or without any other intellectual knowledge, they're all forced to interpret what either the government or what social media wants them to take. And that's also referenced because they talk about the schools they go to, and they're talking about how everyone's exactly the same and how Clarice was different, and like they were targeting her family. And it's like they want everybody to be the same because otherwise it's not fair. And that's probably what...
Otherwise people get ideas and there's going to be the revolts and things like that.
Exactly.
Which, it's almost like ironic in a funny way on how, like, they're all trying to keep conformity so everyone is the exact same, but yet there's this war going on. But if everyone was the exact same, there wouldn't really be a war because there'd be nothing to conflict about.
But it's interesting.
But it's just within America.
With the war, we don't even know who's fighting who. It's not even... The war is very vague.
It is.
It's just like that he just sees like planes overhead all the time. It's almost more like surveillance, it seems like. Rather than fighting until the end.
That's what it definitely feels like.
And why would they bomb the city? Or whoever is bombing. That's a very interesting thing to think about.
I just kept thinking outside of like where they were living, like across the world. I was wondering, because I always think like, yeah, there's a war going on and this is the present right now, this is what's going on around Montauk, but is there another place across the world where war is not even happening at all and those people are awake, and are those the people that are fighting with them to wake them up?
Dang.
Because,
wow.
you know, like, for instance, maybe we're doing so well in America, but in other countries they might not be doing well. Maybe this is the other country's not doing well. And then there's other people that are like, we need to wake these people up because the government has control over these people, and they don't even know that the government has control over them because they can't read books. So that would make sense why the author makes it so that way the character doesn't know what's going on, because how can they if they haven't been able to read books and understand and go outside the world? It looks like all the TV programs are programmed by the government to make people want to be encased in themselves and not worry about the outside world.
Completely self-absorbed.
Right.
And the war and the atomic bomb, is it an atomic bomb that gets dropped at the end?
I think so. It's some kind of bomb that's dropped in the city.
I think that almost symbolizes like that the urban society is the bomb symbolizes it explodes because there's absolutely no interaction with the people.
Right.
Like he talks about, like Montauk is confused when the girl comes up and talks to him. Like these people, he barely can interact. His wife barely knows how to interact with him. Her friend, what's her name? The wife. Her friends, like Miss
Phelps.
Millie. Mildred's friends come over, and he like tries to engage them in conversation, and they're like totally taken aback.
Right.
And
They repeat the same phrase over and over.
Right. It's like,
it was terrifying. It was really terrifying. Like, and the bomb's just like Bradbury's way of saying like, if society ever comes to this, it's gonna just crumble to pieces.
And see, like a quote to kind of go along with the whole like disconnection on page 96. It's like last paragraph down or so. It goes, I plunk the children in school 9 days out of 10. I put up with them when they come home 3 days a month. It's not bad at all. You have them in the parlor washing clothes, stuff laundry, and slam the lid.
That's terrible.
Like, you just see the disconnection. Like, today you think of it, and, like, parents are like, you know, if they don't get to have their kids all the time because of divorce or something, they're all about them. They want to be with them. And she's like, I put up with them. Like, she specifically says, I put up with them when they come home.
And
like, there's just that total disconnection and isolation between people.
Also, she does not have a phase in the world about her having a C-section for every single one of her kids. Like, that is where you cut yourself open.
Kids are almost a burden for this society.
Right.
Because they're so self-absorbed.
Mm-hmm. Right, and she's like so detached that she can't even like have this natural way.
Yeah.
And it's like everything has to be so fake, and you know what I'm saying? Like you got cut open for every single.
And even on the page before that, on page 95, he said, if I get killed off, you just go right ahead and don't cry, but get married again and don't think of me.
Right, and
she's like, oh, I'm totally fine with that. I'm just gonna do that. You know, if he dies, like I'm just gonna move on. And it's like,
right, and there's at some point, Montag talks to Millie about her friends who have been married like 3 or 4 times. It's like nothing's permanent, except the TV.
Yeah, page 101 is when he does like go home and think of your first husband divorced, your second husband killed in a jet, and your third blowing his brains out.
Yep, exactly what I was referencing.
Yeah.
Hey Lindsey, did you have like any outlook on the TV and how like it affects people? Like I feel like that was kind of a big.
Actually, I thought it was kind of interesting when they were talking about putting the kids in a washer and just shutting the door.
Right.
Interesting
But like, think about it
metaphor.
nowadays. Sometimes when you go out, you just see a parent like give their kid their phone to shut them off, or give them an iPad.
Yeah.
Similar.
It's
scary.
It was scary almost to read it and see all the similarities between this time period and today. Like you said, see parents giving their phones, or even before the phones were a really big thing, it was parents putting their kids in front of the TV because they didn't want to deal with them. It's like they were starting to have that kind of disconnecting bond, and that's kind of scary.
And what's crazy is that
No, I'm done.
I don't even think of
It's
that.
crazy. It's
So
like Bradbury lives in a time like 1950s televisions are very new, and
It's like everyone's only seen the good, and he's thinking like, but what if?
he's a big what if guy. Certainly, and the fact that he foreshadowed like the 21st century very well, and if technology continues like this, this could be the future, which is really scary. Because I love talking to you guys. I love talking to people. There's like human interaction is like it's like the most important thing. Like
are you an extrovert?
No, yeah. That's my personal opinion, but like you go shopping, you get new shoes, like you feel good, but that's not as good as like having a meaningful conversation or like expressing emotion and like passion with people. And
that's what
I really hope the world never comes to this. This is absolutely hideous to me. It makes me sick.
I always wonder if Bradbury wrote this book with that exact thing in mind. Like maybe he was seeing things changing too much, so he just wrote this ridiculous piece of satire saying like, I don't know, if you guys don't start talking to each other, our world's gonna go up in flames, quite literally.
Yeah, it does. Back to the war and the bomb. The town exploding could really be a metaphor for the whole world exploding.
I find it interesting how a lot of the book goes on about like burning and how it's a pleasure to burn, and like fire. Like fire has a big role in it.
Fire.
But as you start getting towards the end, like page 131, Montauk talks about like I'm drowning. How many times can a man go down and still be alive? Like he hit this breaking point and suddenly it goes from fire to water. Like the water has completely overtaken the fire, and now he's just trying to figure out where he's at in life. I just thought that was so cool how he slowly shifted away from the fire aspect and turned to water, something more peaceful.
Can we talk about him jumping into the river?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we are at 14 minutes. We're just going to pause.
I just feel like
We get intense.